impact for me has been the relationships we've formed, particularly within the boxing community. And an example, I approached Boxing Australia and Boxing New South Wales with the peak body for the amateur level sport in this country. And within 2 weeks, we had statements of support, and they're helping us organise a very inclusive championships, providing the officials the support. So it's been overwhelming. I describe it as friends waiting to meet us. Also, the impact is I approached all of the major world divisions to ask for statements of support, and I was able to get statements of support from 4 of the 5 major bodies. But the biggest impact is just to get the LGBTQ inclusion on the agenda, and we have a great LGBTQI plus boxing family and allies wanting to make it happen for us. So it's a great message of inclusion from a sport which is traditionally seen as heteronormative, but we're starting to make the change. For me, I find most of the discussion around inclusion in sport is at the elite level, professional athletes coming out of the closet. 90% of LGBTQI plus people believe homophobia, transphobia, biphobia, etc. is a problem in sport. But 99% of people do not participate at the elite professional level. For me, the real focus needs to be at the grassroots amateur level. That means the leadership of the sport, the sporting bodies, the governing bodies, making more than statements, but providing an opportunity for people to participate. But I believe the best way is through disruption. LGBTQI plus people and our allies participating, joining your local club, joining your local gym, just getting out there and doing it, ensuring that you can do it. And the biggest thing is for more people to call out the homophobia, to call out the transphobia, report it. The classic example was the other month, the European Super League. Within 1 week, presidents, prime ministers, princes were all speaking out against it. But why do people not do the same against racism in sport or homophobia in sport? So more people speaking out as well. The first thing I think businesses really need to mean it. We talk about Pride 365 days of the year. The first thing businesses just take a look around them. Take a look about the representation and visibility. Is it a safe and respectful workplace for everybody and your LGBTQI plus employees? Think about your customer base. What communities are you serving? Are you serving LGBTQI plus customers? And think about what would their customer think about your employees. But also it really starts with leadership, the business leaders, the executives insisting on meaningful inclusion. Wearing a rainbow lanyard, wearing a pride pin outside of Pride Month, celebrating the days, but also giving that consistent message, but also creating an environment where people can feel they can speak up and be themselves, and really challenging those comments which happen, challenge homophobia, challenge transphobia, challenge bigotry, challenge rape, do all of those things and insist on inclusion and just create a fun environment so we can be ourselves. In my experience, it's the most subtle and shameful form of bullying, because those microaggressions, we all want to know where we stand, but we're now talking about creating a sense of belonging. So if I go into the workplace and I'm excluded, or that you don't know where I stand. Is that person, does they like me? Do they smile some of the times, but don't other times? What message are you giving? Because that then creates the anxiety, psychological torture. You don't know where you stand. You don't know what you've done. And for me, that's the hardest thing to grasp and to understand. And I think that's the same for anybody with a microaggression. You don't understand where it's coming from, and you can't put your finger on it. It's very covert. Where somebody making the homophobic statements, you know exactly where that's coming from. But for those microaggressions, it's something which plays on people's minds, and it's a very subtle and cruel form of bullying. For me, the first few years of my professional life, I was in the closet, and I think I experienced those microaggressions. I'm going back to the late 90s, where colleagues would say, is that person gay? Is that person gay? You'd hear gay jokes and comments. It was very much, I dare not come out. And then when I moved to Australia, I find myself living in an environment which is a very wonderful, vibrant LGBTQIA plus friendly city with colleagues where I think I'm okay to come out now, and that was okay. But I have experienced those comments or been around where somebody said something. So it did hurt me but I decided to challenge it and to speak up. And that felt empowering. But at the end of the day, work is not your full life. You know, we spend so much time outside of work, and life is for living, life is for enjoying. Just the work environment isn't right for you. You know what? Challenge, speak up if you feel comfortable. If not, find something else, because you're worth more than where you're not being respected.